Greetings, welcome to Facts About Everything. I'm your host, James Egan. A while ago, I did a video about Game of Thrones. You may have been under the false impression that that was all the Game of Thrones facts I had. But no. I have plenty more. Like, did you know the actor who plays Daenerys' brother, Harry Lloyd, is the great-great-great-great-grandson of Charles Dickens? And that is the first fact about Game of Thrones. Let's dive in. Yeah, just to remind you, I have done a video about Game of Thrones already, and I've done a video about the writer of Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin, so you can check them out, but I'll leave a link at the end of this video if you want to check them out afterwards. Charles Dance plays Tywin. In his spare time, he plays the ukulele. Christian Nern plays Hodor. He stands 6'11". By the way, I was at a baseball game a few months ago in San Francisco, and Christian Nern was the DJ. Hodor is so called because that's the only thing he can say. The character's name is actually Walder, but that's only in the book. In the TV series, his name is Willis. This is to stop him getting mixed up with the other character, Walder. Hodor suffers from a real disorder called Broca's aphasia. This is a disorder that makes a person have a very limited vocabulary, despite the fact that their intelligence is completely unimpaired. Gwendoline Christie plays the towering Brienne. Her armor was designed to hide her hips to emphasize her lack of femininity. Gwendoline Christie stands 6'3". Weirdly, Gwendoline Christie does not know when she was born. She doesn't even know the year. Gwendoline's armor was so heavy that she had to take painkillers when she was wearing it. Gwendoline Christie was bullied horrifically throughout her life due to her height and her androgynous appearance. She uses this frustration for her character. At least 9 actors from the Harry Potter series have appeared in the show. Kit Harington says people shout, "You know nothing, Jon Snow," at him in public almost every day. He finds it really annoying. Peter Vaughan plays the blind character Maester Aemon. Peter is blind in real life. Peter Dinklage is a vegetarian. All the meat he eats in the show is tofu. The show has approximately 14 deaths per episode. That's probably going to change in the next season. In the book, the Iron Throne is far bigger and is made up of 1,000 swords. The Iron Throne in this show has less than 200 swords. It takes 4 people to lift the Iron Throne. The Iron Throne is over 8 feet tall. It took 4 months to build the Iron Throne. Shireen is the girl with the grayscale scars on her face. It is based on the Fibrodysplasia, Ossificans progressive, or FOP, which overdevelops bones. Kerry Ingham plays Shireen. Kerry has osteogenesis imperfecta, which causes her bones to break easily. It's the same disorder that Elijah Price has in Unbreakable and Glass. She has broken 30 bones in her lifetime. She says this helps her play the character as she's used to being strong when others think she's weak. By a complete coincidence, Emilia Clarke and Lena Headey have both played Sarah Connor in the Terminator franchise. Emilia Clarke played her in Terminator Genesis, and Lena Headey played her in the TV series Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. This show marks Kit Harington's TV debut. Robert Baratheon is never seen sitting on the Iron Throne. George R.R. Martin has said that several fans have correctly guessed how the show is going to end. Aliens. Sean Bean plays Eddard Stark. The show premiered on his birthday. Jack Gleeson, who plays Joffrey, and Aidan Gillen, who plays Littlefinger, both appear in the Dark Knight trilogy. 6 cast members went on to star in Star Wars Episode 7. If Kit Harington wasn't an actor, he would have been a camera operator. When Emilia Clarke auditioned for Daenerys, she claimed she did the robot dance and the funky chicken. Unsurprisingly, this is why she got the part. The 7 fates of the world represent the crone, father, maiden, mother, smith, stranger, and the warrior. Maisel Williams plays Arya Stark. Although Maisel is right-handed, she uses her sword in her left hand because her character is left-handed in the book. Each season is shot for approximately 106 days. Any child actor involved in a violent scene must have their parent on set by law. Viserys' gold crown scene could only be done in 1 take because the gold paint destroyed his costume. To make the dragon's movements look real, the animator studied bats and geese. The dragons move like a bat when they take off from the ground. Their flying movements are based on the movements of an eagle. George R.R. Martin has admitted that he thinks the show is so much better than his books that he actually has altered his upcoming books to match the tone of the show. When you say upcoming books, it gives the impression that you're going to release them. When? Rosine Frey is the name of the character who gets married in the infamous Red Wedding. By the way, she was in my class in college for 3 years. She appeared, and I was like, I know her. Rosalind cries after she gets married. Although it is assumed she is crying because she's overexcited, it is clear why by the end of the episode. In 2013, TV Guide said the ending of Season 1 has the second greatest twist of all time. In case you were wondering, the greatest twist of all time on that poll was the To Serve Man episode of The Twilight Zone. The show has made Arya the fastest growing name in America. Well, at least it's finally not Elsa. George R.R. Martin had to tell the show's creators the conclusion of the story years in advance just in case he died before writing it. The title sequences change in several episodes to emphasize certain kingdoms. Emilia Clarke refused to go nude after Season 2. Any nudity of the character depicted after that is actually Emilia Clarke's face on a body double. The red comet that appears in Season 2 is called the Red Sword. Season 2, Episode 10 is called Valor Morghulis. This translates into All Men Must Die. Many people believe the official words of House Lannister is a Lannister always pays his debts. However, this is just a motto. The official words of House Lannister are, hear me roar. The two production teams are called Wolf and Dragon. When Charles Dance is introduced as Tywin, he is carving a dead deer. Not only is the deer real, but Charles Dance was actually carving it. He was shown how to do it by a butcher. Season 5 was the first season to feature material from 3 of the books. Season 5 required over 1,000 crew members and over 5,000 regular extras. George R.R. Martin cameoed in the show, but his scene was cut. Every single extra has their costume made from scratch. South Park parodied Game of Thrones in Season 17, Episode 7, Black Friday. This episode highlighted the fact that exposition was usually told in Game of Thrones when the characters are walking in a garden.
This is really about you and me getting Xbox Ones. The others are simply there to help us get inside those doors. This is really about you and me getting Xboxes. The rest are simply there to help us get through those doors.
After the creators saw the South Park episode, they avoided guarded scenes as often as possible. That's right, they actually had to change how they told the story because of South Park. Although Sophie Turner's character Sansa is involved with many disturbing scenes, the only scene she hated was when she had to sing. The words of House Bolton are, our blades are sharp. Well, of course they are. I mean, if they weren't, it wouldn't be a blade. That is the definition. When Daenerys is doing a scene with a dragon, the actress is actually working with a bright green ball called a stuffy. When Gwendolyn Christie had to fight a bear, they used a real bear for the scene. However, a man in a bear costume was used for close-up scenes. When Daenerys is playing with the dragons, their movements are based on chickens. Ian Glenn plays Jorah. He is so good at speaking Dothraki that he actually improvises line in this non-existent language. The 9th episode of each season is considered to be the most infamous episode. You would assume that all the actors have a very thorough knowledge of the books. And you couldn't be more wrong. Despite the fact Peter Dinklage has appeared in more episodes than any other actor, he has never read the Game of Thrones series. He said he tried to, but he just couldn't. Found it terribly confusing. Despite the fact Game of Thrones is considered to be one of the greatest TV shows of all time, it's only won one single Golden Globe, when Peter Dinklage won for Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role. Talisa is played by Una Chaplin. She is the granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin. 3 primary characters played main characters in the James Bond series. Sean Bean played Trevelyan in GoldenEye, Diana Rigg played Tracy on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and Jonathan Pryce played the main villain Elliot in Tomorrow Never Dies. The lead of The Wire, Dominic West, was offered a major role, but he declined. Rory McCann plays the Hound. He asked his sister to print out the dialogue for the audition, but she printed out the wrong one. She only managed to print out the first few lines. When McCann arrived at the studio, he saw all the other actors preparing a long, intense speech, which McCann was oblivious to. The speech also talks about how the Hound has a burnt face, which McCann didn't even know about. McCann had to postpone his audition and come back later after he learned the dialogue. When he came back, the casting directors were won over by his anger and ferocity.
We're Gregor's master. Look at me!
When he was asked what was he thinking of to come across so enraged, he said, his sister screwing up his audition. In Season 1, Daenerys eats a horse heart. Now you're thinking to yourself, obviously that isn't a real horse heart, it's just a fake one, right? And that's true, it is fake. However, a horse heart probably would have been better. According to Daenerys actress Emilia Clarke, the horse heart tasted like bleach, and the strips that are meant to be the arteries tasted like uncooked pasta. Since she had to do the scene 25 times, Emilia Clarke got very sick, literally. She vomited into a bucket between multiple takes. Also, to make the heart look fresh, the crew had to add sugar to make the blood look brighter. However, it also made it stickier, which made Clarke kept getting stuck to stuff, including the toilet. Okay, this is a spoiler for Season 5. So if you haven't seen it up until that point, then, like, what the hell's wrong with you? So anyway, I'm going to spoil the end of Season 5, but it's a really cool fact. So here we go. In Season 5, Littlefinger says that people die at their dinner tables. They die in their beds. They die squatting over their chamber pots. During that season, Joffrey dies at a dinner table, Shae dies in her bed, and Tywin dies in the toilet and they all die in that exact order. And finally, possibly the most powerful moment in all of Game of Thrones is when we learn why Hodor says that word over and over again. After the three-eyed crow warged his mind as a teenager, it was set in his head the phrase, hold the door, which over time became Hodor. Although this is such a powerful, mind-blown revelation, there's something you may never thought of. How does that translate in other languages? With great difficulty. Every language had to rephrase it their own way. In Swedish, it was Haldoren, which means shut the door, which eventually became Hodor. In Italian, the closest they could get to Hodor's name was Blocca l'Orda, which means block the horde, would then become Orda. In French, it's not outside, passe au dehors. And it was really tricky for Polish. The only thing they could get even close to it was hold the dead as long as you can. You see what I mean? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, because if you don't, I'll die. If there's any other TV shows you want me to do a video about, let me know and I'll upload it as soon as possible. To learn more facts, check out my books. They're available on Amazon, on paperback, and Kindle. Thanks for watching. See you again.